New York baseball fans, what's going on? Dexter Henry here, host of Straight Outta Flushing, joined by my guy, executive producer. Nice wave. That's very political wave you
I'm
had
happy,
right there.
Dexter,
You
right
had
now.
look. I will get to this. My guy Ryan Sampson, executive producer here of New York Post Sports, also host of Pinstripe Post. Now, Ryan, you said you're happy, and I can let the people know on a little conversation that you and I had the other day. You were not so happy the other day. Not that you were like super down, but you had some concerns about the trade deadline here as we're about to do this trade deadline show. You had some concerns about the
You
Yankees, but
have
now you're
to.
smiling.
Because, listen, before they made the move for Ryan McMahon, which was their first big move for the deadline, right?
Yep.
Yankees were the worst team in baseball throughout the month of June and July. And there's no doubt about it. Like, they needed reinforcements. Cashman and company knew they needed to address the weaknesses in this team. First and foremost being third base and pitching has always been the concern here. Now, while the deadline's not done yet, and we're still 30, a little bit less than 30 minutes away from this being over, they have addressed two big concerns for me heading into this deadline. Are you going to fix third base, which they did in McMahon? And then are you going to address your bullpen, which has the worst ERA in baseball in the month of July?
Yep.
So they knew they needed to get relievers. And not to mention, their relievers have been absolutely wiped out. They've been overused. Tim Hill has the most appearances in all baseball this year right now. He's Gumby, but I do concern about him and Williams and Weaver and all these appearances these guys are making. They're going to wilt. We're at the end of July. They still have 2 months of baseball left. They got the guys that you were hoping they were getting, Bednar, and then Jake Bird. I don't know much about him. I see he's got high strikeout potential, but they got two arms for this bullpen, and with more coming back from the injured list, hopefully in the next couple weeks with Fernando Cruz and potentially Ryan Yarbrough, I think this bullpen can actually start being a strength again for this Yankees team, which is what we're all us Yankee fans wanted.
Yeah. So, you know what? Look, they addressed a lot of the needs there. And I think the main thing you talked about there, Ryan, for me was the bullpen, right? Because since the start of June, the Yankee fans, they know this. The Yankees bullpen, the ERA, 4.89. That was fifth worst in not the American League, all of baseball. So that had to be addressed. The Yankees got some good arms. At Bednar, you love the potential with him. Since he's come back from Pittsburgh after they sent him down, he's been tremendous since he came back. I think he fits in perfectly. You have him under control for a couple of years. So depending on what happens with Luke Weaver, what happens with Devin Williams, you have another arm there, right? And you know you got some arms coming back into the fold
and
that should excite you.
He's a closer too.
Right.
That's key.
So if Devin Williams, does Devin Williams things.
Rough night again last night.
Right. And I know that can't make you happy.
No.
So now you've got a little bit of relief here. So I think Yankee fans have to feel good at this trade deadline, although we still have, under 25 minutes to go here with the trade deadline. We're also going to talk about the Mets as well, too, who I think have had themselves a fantastic deadline.
An impressive deadline.
Yeah.
Impressive.
David Stearns is cooked here at the deadline. He went and got himself 3 arms.
Yep.
Right. Did not give any of their top blue chip prospects, which I think is the key here. Then the Mets did what also had to do for me at the deadline, which was upgrade at center field, right? And if you could also add a left-handed bat. They did both with Cedric Mullins. Now, Mullins, are you excited about getting him? No, because he's not like, I don't think he's like a bat you're going to get wowed by, but I think he's a professional. It helps extend the lineup. They needed to do that. They needed to also shorten games, and they did that with addressing the arms they got in the bullpen.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Jose Budo is not cutting it for you guys. And also, let's not forget, Brazaban had struggled. Stanek is so inconsistent. You like what Phil, who's the guy you just got back from the injured list that now is performing? The lefty. I can't think of his name.
Right. Sorry. Why am I blanking on the lefty here? Just Brooks Raley.
Sorry. I was blanking on his name. You got Raley back, right?
Who's pitched well since
he's pitched well.
Yeah.
But the problem is, again, you had lack of depth in the bullpen.
Yep.
And this is something I think that Stearns obviously knew. The Mets are in first place in the NL East. You see what the Phillies are doing at the deadline. They're going for it as well.
Absolutely.
This division is up for grabs. And this is your one chance here with the Mets. Not one chance, but this is your chance with the Mets. You got Juan Soto in your prime. You got Lindor at the end of his prime. You got Alonso having a very good year. This lineup should be good. The starting pitching has been pretty solid. But the bullpen is what they really needed to address. And I was really impressed the fact they got Helsley, who's a big-time arm. And then they got another guy from the Giants in Rogers, who he reminds you a lot of Chase Bradford. That's comparisons people are giving him. But he's got that funky wind-up and delivery, and he's going to get guys out. I mean, it was there's the right way that the Mets went about this deadline. And David Stearns, he's a calculated guy. He loves his prospects. He comes from a small market. This is a big market. We know the pressure is building there. Like your owner, he wants to win. Yeah. And I think that this was the right way to go about the deadline, the way the Mets went about it.
Some people, not everybody, Ryan, some Mets fans out there, and I saw this yesterday as I'm on Twitter, he gave up too much. And this was after the Rodgers deal. This is before the Helsley deal, right? Because after he got Tyler Rodgers, they gave up too much for Rodgers. Yeah. They did here because they gave up Drew Gilbert. They gave up Blade Tidwell. But you got to look at where those guys were. They were not top 100 prospects, right? They were top 12 in the Mets organization, but they weren't top 100 prospects. So you didn't give up Jonathan. You didn't give up Nolan McLean. Okay, you didn't give up Brandon Sproat, who guys the Mets rank very highly.
Right.
The Mets didn't give up any of their blue chippers, and they came away with 3 arms and a center fielder, a left-handed bat they needed. They had to upgrade center field because Tyrone Taylor and Jeff McNeil were going to cut it out there.
No.
So I think when you look at what Stearns did, he was cooking. And you also look at what Brian Cashman did. I know you were on tilt the other day. You got to like what you saw out of
them.
I
mean, you saw all these arms go with them, specifically with the Mets, right? Like they make 2 big moves last night, and you're seeing other relief pitchers go, and then you see the Padres make the blockbuster of all blockbusters, getting Mason Miller. And we're sitting here on the sidelines like, hey, dead body, Cashman. Are you awake? Are you making a move?
Hey,
do something.
Yeah.
Like just do something. Like get it. This bullpen is wasted. Like they are just completely wiped out right now. They need help, and they got help. Bednar is a monster get for them. They didn't give up as much as you would have thought they would for a Bednar. Like I'm fine with what they gave away. I'm waiting to see. We got 21 minutes left. I think there's another move that the Yankees are trying to make. I think they're going to try and go get Sandy Alcantara.
All right, let's talk
about
that.
I want Sandy Alcantara.
You want him?
He's a controllable starter.
Yep.
A guy who won a former Cy Young winner. And I just think that they can unlock the potential there fully with him. He's in a bad organization of the Marlins. And if you can get him, that will be a all-in deadline that the Yankees desperately need right now. And he would help because you can take a Cam Schlittler and take that velocity, that 100-mile-per-hour fastball, put that into the bullpen, and add another bullpen strikeout guy. That would be the legit deadline for the Yankees, the quote-unquote all-in mentality.
So it's funny because I brought up Sandy Alcantara on Straight Outta Flushing this week, and I brought him up as a potential trade deadline, and I included Nolan McLean for the Mets. And Mets fans were, commenting, you can't do that, Dex. That's too much. What are you willing to give up for Sandy Alcantara? Because there's going to be some high prize prospects. Are you willing to give up a George Lombard Jr.? Is that too much?
Lombard, I wouldn't give up. He's your number 1 prospect. Yeah, but I would give up Spencer Jones in a heartbeat. Now that's saying something because I know Spencer Jones is lighting up play. He's hitting a home run almost every 12 at bats. Like he's incredible right now. But the thing with Spencer Jones is he's a guy who's going to probably strike out 200 times. He's a big kid. You worry about him long-term health-wise. I just think, though, when you have this opportunity to get a true ace, and Alcantara has not been an ace this year. He's been one of the worst pitchers in baseball, believe it or not, with the ERA. But he had 2 really good games his last two starts. I think the Marlins know there's potential there, and they're banking on that potential to trade him. I would give Spencer Jones up.
What about Jason Dominguez?
Yeah, heartbeat, done. Go, take him. Take any of those guys. But you got to be like, this is the whole the argument that Joel made with me the other day on Pinstripe Post. He goes, the Yankees could have traded away any of their prize prospects not named Aaron Judge in the last 25 years.
And I agree with his point on this. He said, yes.
You would have been okay.
Yep.
And the whole point that he was trying to make is not only do they overhype and prospect hug their own guys, the Yankees can outbuy their mistakes. If they pull a Mets, and I hate to bring up the salt in the wound here,
here we go.
Pete Crow Armstrong.
I knew you were going to go there.
The guy's an MVP candidate, right? Like you traded him away. He's young, controllable, center fielder. Like the dude is insane, legit talent. Yeah. You gave him up for Javi Baez a rental, and you're seeing now like, we could use a Pete Crow Armstrong right now. Absolutely. But the Yankees haven't traded away any of those guys, and none of the guys that they've held on to has developed into a Pete Crow Armstrong. So why not take the chance of a guy, Spencer Jones, where Joel compares him to? At his best, he could be an Adam Dunn, which is an all-star player who can give you a couple all-star years, probably hit 40 home runs for you, but he's going to strike out 200 times. He's going to be a low batting average type guy.
That's still a good player.
That's a very good player.
Still a good player. Yeah.
But he's not Aaron Judge. the worst, and a lot of people are comping him is dude's going to be the next Joey Gallo, where he's going to strike out a ton, low batting average, and all he does is literally just hit home runs. I don't know if I'd be comfortable saying, yeah, that's the guy we're going to hold on to, because you don't know on that spectrum where he's going to land. Yeah. But Sandy Alcantara is a proven starter.
Yeah.
And while he struggled this year,
right,
you would hope you'll be able to unlock something with him, and he can be one of your front-end rotation guys. Because I'll tell you right now, as a Yankees fan, and I'm going off on a tangent here, I don't trust Carlos Rodon in the playoffs. I don't trust Luis Hill in the playoffs because he's coming back from a major injury this year. The only guy I trust is Max Fried in that rotation.
That's not enough.
That's not enough.
Do you I'm going to hit something you said there, and it's Joel's point that I want to hit on, because Joel's point to me is right. The chances of a Pete Crow Armstrong situation happening again is unlikely. It's so hard to make it in the major leagues. You're right. All these Mets fans or Yankees fans, all the prospects they either held on to or traded in the last couple of years. We're only talking about Pete Crow Armstrong, right? I know Mets fans who didn't want to give up Michael Conforto. Michael Conforto has been a nice player, not a generational talent like Aaron Judge. He hasn't even been Pete Alonso.
No.
Okay? The Mets fans, you know this. Most times they don't hit on these positional players. You know this.
No, they're pitching they hit on.
Pitching they've hit on.
Yeah.
Positional players have not historically been good for the Mets. So not good at all. I see in the comments, D-Rod said, hold up, 3 years ago, Crow Armstrong was a nobody. Did anyone know who he was 3 years ago?
That's not true. He's a first-round pick.
Yeah, people knew who he was. Yeah. Now, did anybody know that he was going to pan out the way he did?
MVP?
No, nobody knew that. And I hate when people act like this for prospects like you knew. You don't know. And most people out there, including myself, put myself in here, I'm not watching the minor leagues like that. Let's keep it a buck. I'm not watching the minor leagues like that. But so if you can get proven talent, your point, if I'm the Mets or the Yankees, I'd be going after Alcantara. It's the control, get him in your pitching system, see if you can get him right. The Yankees, you put him at the top of the rotation with Fried. That's
a hell of a one too, man.
Hey, man, I would be locked in on that.
And do you think I'm wrong that I don't trust Luis Hill? Just because he's coming off a major lat strain. It's this throwing side. I understand he's looked pretty good, okay, in his rehab starts, but he's not built up to a full 100. Like his last rehab start 75. His next start is going to be with the majors. He's actually pitching against the Marlins this Sunday. Like, we got to see it from him. And he's got 2 months to basically build himself as a reliable starter for them, because if he becomes the full Luis Hill he was last year, the rookie of the year,
then you're cooking with gas.
Right. Then you have a legit 1-2 with him and Fried. But imagine if you can get a Sandy Alcantara and you have a legit 1-2-3. 3 ace-type pitchers. Because Luis Hill pitched like an ace last year at times. When Garrett Cole went down to start the year with the elbow injury, Luis Hill stepped in, and he was their best pitcher in the starting rotation. So that's where I'm at if I'm a Yankees fan. And again, 15 minutes to go, less than 15 minutes to go. I would love for them to get another starter here, as we're constantly checking our phones and updating to see that passing tweet or Joel Sherman tweet or whatever. The Kansas City Royals have acquired left-hander Bailey Falter. Also, Yankees fans, we noticed this, and I know I saw it in the comments as well. Oswald Peraza has been traded to the Angels. So I did ask this question before we came live to Dex. If they traded Peraza, that means there's an open spot here on the bench. Now they can either replace it, I believe, with another bat. Do they call someone up, or do they make a trade for another bat? Is that potentially like, because Joel Sherman, we should bring this up. I don't know if you saw his tweet before, Dex. He had said before we came on live that the Yankees certain pen is Devin Williams, Luke Weaver, David Bednar, Jake Bird, Tim Hill, Leiter Jr. for the next 7 days. Cruz end of August. De Los Santos, Hamilton have options. Loizaga, Brubaker don't. Hedrick has options, but interesting left-hander if he does get another one. If they don't get another one, so could they get another left-handed bullpen guy? And then the other part about Peraza is, I do wonder, do the Yankees flirt with getting another infielder that they can stash at AAA? Because Joel did bring this up in his recent tweet, that could the Yankees be looking at getting another infielder?
That's the thing that's interesting to me.
Because of Anthony Volpe's struggles.
Here's the thing. I'll say one, moving off of Peraza, who I know Yankee fans couldn't wait to see him out the door. You would have drove him to the airport yourself. Moving off of him and then not having to even release him, right? And you could, we don't know what the Yankees got back yet, but let's say it's cash considerations.
Oh, I do have a return from Joel. So Yankees are getting Wilberson De Pena and international money for Peraza.
Okay.
I don't think DePena is going to be on the starting team
or
on the bench at all. So.
No, don't think so. So you get some cash. Do you have flexibility to do something? What are the Yankees trying to do in this last 13 minutes or so to see what's going on? But we've got our first guest with us. He does a lot of stuff covering the Yankees. He is the host of Yankees Morning Brew. I was actually on the show with him this morning for Uptown Sports. It's my guy, Hector Champ, joins us now. Hector, what's going on, man?
What's going on, Dex? What's going on, Ryan? How you guys feeling?
What up, man? What up?
What up, man? Feeling good. How are you feeling? Because I talked to Ryan a couple of days ago. Ryan wasn't feeling so good. You were a little shaky this morning, telling me you needed to see a little more about the Yankees, and now the Yankees have done a little bit more, Hector. So how are you feeling about what the Yankees have done here, adding 2 arms on Thursday afternoon?
First off, thank you for having me on. Appreciate you for taking time this morning to join me and Grace. Always appreciate you, Dex. So far, so good. Brian Cashman is cooking, right? When you look at this trade deadline, not even just, the moves made today, but before, you add Ryan McMahon, you bring in Ahmed Rosario, Austin Slater, then you go out there, you get the reliever closer from the Pittsburgh Pirates and Bednar. Then you add on the pitcher from the Colorado Rockies. The Yankees adding 5 guys at the trade deadline. Where was the last time Brian Cashman added 5 guys at the trade deadline? Hopefully, Yankee fans, this quiet the noise just for a little bit. I would like to see a starting pitcher. I think the news was just broke right now. I'm not sure if you guys touched on it, but Sandy won't be traded at the deadline right now.
Yeah, Craig Mish tweeted the Miami Marlins, and this the Marlins beat writer here. The Marlins will not be trading Sandy Alcantara today. He'll once again be the ace down the stretch as the Marlins keep pushing this season and developing for the future. So the Marlins, once again, doing Marlins stuff and not trading away a high value piece when you could.
I do like the addition of Jake Bird. I think that's going to fly under the radar. When you look at his baseball savant, right, his usage rate, this is a guy that he throws his fastball 1% of the time. He is a sinker. He is a sweeper and a changeup type of guy. Those type of pitches really don't play well in Colorado. So when you look at his road splits, he has a 3.70 ERA, and I trust Matt Blake to get the best out of him when it comes to being an addition to the bullpen. So I like that addition of Bird.
I do like that one. Hector, Ryan and I were talking about this right before you popped on. Mm-hmm. Now we know Alcantara off the market, and I agree with Ryan here. The Marlins doing Marlins things again. But would you have wanted him? I know we talked a little bit about this on your show this morning. Would you have wanted him in terms of the Yankees? Is that the kind of piece to upgrade the rotation you would have liked? And what would you have given up? Because your fellow Yankee fan here, Ryan, was willing to part with Jason Dominguez. He also told me Spencer Jones you'd be willing to part with as well too. Are you on the same boat as Ryan here?
I'm on the same boat as well, because when you look at Aaron Judge, you have to maximize the window that you have of Aaron Judge when he's performing at this level peak in his career. We don't know, knock on wood, if Aaron Judge is going to be that force for the next 3-4 years down the line, right? So you have to maximize and capitalize on your window of opportunity, on your window of winning, and that's what you do right now. My guy, Jimmy Randazzo on Twitter, he loves to throw out there, hug your girlfriends, not your prospects, right? And I think at the trade deadline, when you have to try that, when you have a small window to win with Aaron Judge, you got to go all in.
So I got some breaking news for you guys. The Yankees have made another trade.
Oh, wow.
So they traded Peraza before we came on live here, Hector. They have acquired now Jose Cabayro from the Rays. He's going from one dugout to the other for Everson Pereira and a player to be named later. Caballero will be pulled from the Yankees-Rays game. He will only have to walk from third base side to the first base side to meet his new team. He's tied for the MLB lead with 34 stolen bases. The Yankees make another deal for a guy that, speed on the base pass. Mm-hmm. Caballero is listen, they just strengthened their bench.
That answers, with Peraza getting dealt. Yeah, this answers a lot of the question about what they could have done. Now, I love this. You tell me, Hector, too. I love having a speed guy off the bench, particularly in the postseason. The Yankees have probably not, you and I talked about this, they have not played enough small ball over the last couple of years, being able to manufacture runs. This is a guy that can help them do this. And this is the other thing we're not even talking about here. Is he a guy, if your boy Anthony Volpe is struggling with the throws in the infield again, that you might be able to say, hey, you got to sit down and, this guy might come in here. I think that's been needed for this team. What do you make of this move?
One, like Ryan brought out, instantly you're beefing up your bench, right? When you look at the additions of Ahmed Rosario, Austin Slater, and now Cabayro, those are 3 bench guys that at any given moment could just be a pinch hitter or a pinch runner and can automatically change the game in late game situations, right? Just for a scenario, if Giancarlo Stanton late game in the 9th inning gets a double and you need a pinch run for him, you got Caballero Cabayro, who has 30-plus stolen bases on the season, a single is going to score him. So I do like the additions when it comes to beefing up that bench. So shout out to Brian Cashman. Again, that's 6 people now that he's added at this trade deadline.
Yeah, I mean, what did he say, Hector, before when he was talking about the fact that we are going to be hot on it, or like we're going to be on this with the Yankee with the deadline and how we're going to attack this? By the way, Cabayro can play shortstop, can play second, can play third.
Yeah.
You're talking about a utility infielder. The Yankees, I think they know what's going on. That the fact that Anthony Volpe is in his head mentally, the defensive part of the game. I know he's giving you recent pop at the bat, but I truly believe this is a move to say we need to be prepared. If Volpe cannot get himself right on the field defensively, we know we have a guy we can trust in Caballero to play defensively well and can steal bases for us when we get him on base.
I like also, that if you have to give Volpe that rest day, right? Because that's the one thing that a lot of Yankee fans were saying, that Volpe's playing too much. He needs to rest. We really need to have a guy that we can go to and Aaron Boone feel comfortable, or the front office feel comfortable. Everyone would have loved that to be Peraza, but anytime he got an opportunity to play, the bat just never played. Like this season, he hit below 150. If you're gonna have a substitution for Anthony Volpe, you want somebody that's hitting above at least 200, not 150. Sorry for Dex for stepping over you.
And sorry, I have to say this on here because we just got there's some Knicks news.
I didn't want to do it yet, but you got to do it.
I got to say it. Mikal Bridges has signed this extension, 4 years, $150 million. That was expected, and I'll be doing something on that soon. We'll get to that after. Of course, the Knicks got to break news during the trade deadline.
Guys, I also got to say about Caballero real quick here, Hector. This guy is legit. Like, he's like an Oswald Cabrera.
Yeah.
I mean, Oswaldo Cabrera. He played for this season right now, the games that he's logged. In the outfield, he's played 31 games. He's done 24 in right, 9 in left, 2 in center field. He's also played 31 games at short, 27 games at third, and another 16 at second. This guy can line up anywhere on the field for you.
That's super valuable, and I love the stolen base potential. Anybody knows me when it comes to baseball. I love guys that can do things on the base paths. He can do that for the Yankees. It gives them another dimension. Look, Listen, Hector and Ryan, I know you guys have been angry. Okay, I understand. And even our producer in here, Nick, he's been angry too. I understand it. And Tom, because here at the New York Post and our sports team, I am literally the only Mets fan here. I am by myself. I'm around a bunch of Yankee fans. That is an experience that I'll talk about another day. But I know you guys have been mad. I think you gotta like what Cashman did here, man. I really do. I really think this is a good deadline by the Yankees, and I think it was well thought out. They addressed the needs they needed to get. Would you have liked the starter? Yeah, I think that would have been dope. But
deadline's not done yet, Dex.
This is true.
Deadline's not done. Listen, Nestor Cortez just got dealt to the Padres. Padres making so many moves.
The Padres are going for it too. They've had a great deadline. I think these are the teams I think have done well. I think the Mets have done well. I think the Yankees have done well. I think the Padres have had a really good deadline. I think also the Phillies have done pretty good at the deadline. They've had a great deadline too. And look, all these teams upgraded their bullpen. That is the key. Are you confident, Hector, that this team now is better than they were, I don't know, a week ago? You can make an argument they're better than they were 24 hours ago.
Definitely. Before the trades were even made today, they were better than what we were at the beginning of the season. And I think Ryan hit it on the head. Having Cabayro somebody, or Dex, I think you brought it up, having Cabayro somebody who is a utility guy, right? We've been missing that in the absence of Oswaldo Cabrera, right? Somebody that I've built a relationship with, big guy in the Yankee fan community. He's the mayor of Yankeeville, Oswaldo is. And we've been missing that spark plug, that guy that could play multiple positions, that guy that you could rely on in a late game situation to get on base and to steal the bag for you, right? And that's what Cabayro could do, right? Giancarlo Stanton gets on, immediately you got a pinch runner who can steal second, who could go to third, and then you can have somebody who can spell Anthony Volpe on the times that maybe he needs a rest. Maybe give Anthony Volpe a couple of days off just to have a mental reset. There's a lot of pressure on this kid. I know Yankee fans love him or hate him with Anthony Volpe, but I like to point back, and this is something that Meredith Marakovich brought up a couple of weeks ago with him icing his shoulder, and that play that happened at the beginning of the season when he dove for the ball. I don't think Anthony Volpe has been the same since he had that injury, and I think he has been playing through pain. Again, I don't have a fortune cookie. Anthony Volpe didn't tell me this. I'm just speculating just from his play because that's the only explanation I have to see a guy who was a Gold Glover. You could have your thought on that also, but a guy that was playing solid defense to being what he is right now.
how much of this, and Ryan, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this too, because we spoke about this. How much of now having this flexibility with the players that the Yankees will have in the infield, is it now on Aaron Boone to hold Anthony Volpe accountable if he continues to have these errors at shortstop?
So what I think, and what Hector's saying too, and I kind of agree to an extent, like I'm sure he's playing through something, but I truly believe this is coming down to the mental aspect of the game. And which is weird because he struggled so much offensively this year, but now all of a sudden he's like hitting bomb after bomb after bomb. And last night was a clutch home run. There's no doubt about it. I legit had a little smirk on my face. I'm like, you know what? Good for the kid. He needed that. He legit needed that. But let's not forget, he's also dirtying throws the first still. So there's the mental aspect of I'm struggling defensively. I think the talent's there. He's not getting it there himself mentally. But if the offense can somewhat be represented there, I'm fine with that. Obviously, I agree with Hector, though. Like, I would sign up for a Gold Glove shortstop Anthony Volpe right now and just give me the 215 average, give me the 700 OPS. That's fine. You're the 9-hole hitter. Cabayro, though, I know for a fact I can bring in late game situations. I can bring him as a pinch runner. I can put him in defensively anywhere if I need a late game substitution.
Yep.
He's got that versatility, and this helps that deepens the bench, gives more options for Aaron Boone to attack opposing teams late game situations. He has a much bigger arsenal to deal with. I do want to ask Hector this because we are literally less than 2 minutes away before this deadline ends. The Yankees still haven't gotten a starter here, Hector. I know we're getting Luis Gil back this Sunday. How concerned are you about this rotation down the stretch? Rodon has definitely not had as good of a performance lately as he did when the first couple months of the season. Max Fried, he just pitched the most pitches ever as his first in his career. His last start. Stroman, I just don't know. He's just giving you innings at this point. He's an eater. Will Warren is great when he's not facing the Dodgers or the Blue Jays, right? So like that like if you look at the numbers, it's crazy. Like he's been good against other teams. And then you think about the rest of the way this rotation's shaping up. I would have loved to have seen them get another starter. How about you?
I agree with you 100% for all the question marks that you just threw out there, right? One, when you look at Max Fried, he's dealing with the blister, right? So that's a concern right there, right? How is he going to be down the stretch dealing with that blister? When it comes to Carlos Rodon, this is something that I brought up with Dexter and something that frustrates me when you hear from the New York Yankees how much they rely on analytics, right? And how driven they are about an analytical game, right? So if that's the case, when you look at Carlos Rodon, you brought up it's a tale of like 2 seasons with him, but when you look at it, whenever JC Escarra was his catcher, the numbers show JC Escarra, when Carlos Rodon has JC Escarra, his ERA is below 280. When Carlos Rodon has Austin Wells, his ERA is a little bit over 480. So I don't know what the difference is on the 2 different catchers, but if the Yankees are driven by
breaking news, Hector, breaking news.
What we got?
The Yankees have traded for Camilo Doval, Giants relief pitcher.
Wow.
Dude's got 15 saves on the season. He's got 107 in his career. He's got a 3.09 ERA. The Yankees control him now for another 2.5 years after this. We don't know the return. Jack Curry reporting the Yankees have acquired Camilo Doval from the Giants. This bullpen has gotten legit now.
Yo, Brian Cashman's out here cooking, man. Cooking with grease.
Seven.
Cooking with grease.
Seven guys. And like you said, Camilo Doval, a top closer in the National League. Now you got Devin Williams, you got Anthony, you got David Bednar, you got Camilo Doval, you got Luke Weaver, and then you got Fernando Cruz coming back. That's a solid bullpen.
Let's not forget, if Loaizaga can finally turn it around, you got him. You still got Tim Hill. Ryan Yarbrough, what does he do when he comes back? They got Yerry De Los Santos potentially coming back. Mark Leiter Jr. coming back from injury. This bullpen has legitimately become a strength again with the pieces they got. And this makes me happy, Hector. And this maybe answers the question I just asked you. I think they know that the starting rotation might not be a strength for them, but they can shorten games, though, with this big bullpen piece.
Yeah, 100%. Ryan Yarbrough is going to add to that long reliever core. Maybe the Yankees go with an opener starter type of situation, having guys piggyback off each other with Luis Gil coming back from injuries. Coming back from an injury, you may want him just to go 5 innings and have Ryan Yarbrough come in and to clean the rest of the game up. So, so far, I like the trade deadline. I got to give that an A, Dex.
You giving him okay?
Yeah, I was at a B, but with Camilo Doval coming this way, man, that's another closer.
I know.
Too.
I don't want to hear from Yankee fans because if Devin Williams is shaky out there, you got some options.
Yeah.
You could have some accountability in that pen. And I like that. And the bullpens here in New York, the Mets pen is should be strong. I mean, these guys have to perform. That's the one thing I always say. Make these trades. We like them on paper. They look good and all that, but these guys have to perform. But I like what Brian Cashman did. You cannot say he's not going for it. I think you have to shorten the game because maybe that shows you Brian Cashman and company, they don't have the confidence.
Worst bullpen ERA in baseball in the month of July.
And I said since June, they had the 5th worst in the sport, right?
Yeah.
So they had to upgrade that. Maybe Brian Cashman and company are thinking some of the same things Ryan was saying. Hey, I don't trust Carlos Rodon.
Well,
I don't
Tampa
know.
Tampa Bay Rays are trading for right-hand reliever Griffin Jax. And then
they got Jax.
They just got Jax, and then Charlie Morton is going to the Tigers.
Wow.
Okay.
Jax, I thought Jax was hot. Mike Puma reporting the Mets are done. So nothing else will be coming for the Mets. They're done dealing. Right? Nothing else coming.
Stearns didn't. I mean, you said a starter, I guess, made sense for the Mets, but like,
I thought it would have been nice, but I didn't think it was likely. I think if the Mets were going to
about Senga, I know we're going off topic here. How worried are you about Senga? That guy's staying healthy.
I'm worried. That's why I would have liked another arm. I would have gone for it. I thought the Mets and Yankees were both two teams that could have looked at Alcantara, Hector, that I thought could have been good. And I understand that there's some risks there. And I understand he has not had a great year. But I think if you are confident in what you do as an organization and you can get him right, it would have been nice for either team to get him at the top of their rotation. But listen, Alcantara, I mean, who knows? They're the Marlins. Who knows what the hell they're doing? I have no idea. But he's going to be a hot name this offseason. But we got months to go to talk about that. We will talk about that. He's going to be a hot name, and I would think both New York teams should still want to add him. But okay, Hector, I'm sorry I cut you off before.
No, all good.
You're giving Brian Cashman an A here.
Yeah. Yes.
This is your final grade. You're feeling good. Now Aaron Boone has some new toys to play with. I don't really like comparing people to toys, but you get my point. And are you confident Aaron Boone can get the job done? Is there now more pressure on Aaron Boone? Because there's been pressure on Cashman for some time to say, what could he do here, right? I've heard Yankee fans, including Ryan, sometimes like, get him up out of here. I've heard that sometimes.
I mean, I said it to Joel on the show this week. Sorry, Hector, but like,
no, go ahead.
If they don't make the playoffs this year, he's gone.
You guys are making the playoffs.
We'll see. There's I know they're hanging on that wild card spot right now.
Yeah.
I don't buy the Blue Jays. I know the Blue Jays.
I don't either.
Like, I think the Blue Jays can be get. But here's the thing: the Yankees can't win a freaking game in their own division.
Well, look, you've been okay with Aaron Judge out. Won 3 of the 4 games without him.
That's the other thing we need to ask Hector.
Well, Hector, you know what? Let's go into that. 2 things. One, are you confident Aaron Boone can get the job done with these new assets that he has here? I don't really like calling people assets either, but that's a whole other thing. I said it, whatever.
They're assets.
And 2, how concerned are you with Aaron Judge and this injury?
When it comes to Aaron Boone, now there should be no excuses, right? Because when it comes, Ryan brought it up, the Yankee bullpen right now, the worst bullpen ERA in Major League Baseball. You just added 2 guys that were former all-star closers in the National League. Should be no excuses now when it comes to this bullpen, and you just got to utilize it and play well. You move everybody down. Luke Weaver gets moved down. Ian Hamilton gets moved down. Jonathan Loaizaga, hopefully he could figure it out. But no, I'm super excited about the new toys that he has to play with in the bullpen. But no, when it comes to Aaron Boone, sorry, there's the update on my computer for the trade deadline. When it comes to Aaron Boone, this is somebody that a lot of Yankee fans love him, hate him. He's here right now. I believe that he protects his players. I believe that he has a great relationship with his players, and I just see now is no time for excuses. When it comes to Aaron Judge now, there's concerns because we move when Aaron Judge moves, right? This offense for years was built around Aaron Judge, on him hitting home runs, on him being this superstar player. And now the Yankees went out at the trade deadline and added 7 guys that is going to help this roster. Knock on wood, he comes back healthy. But the times that I've been at the stadium, Ryan and Dex working like media for Latino sports, seeing him on the field yesterday and Monday, I know it's an arm issue, so it's his right arm. I would expect if it was like that severe, he would have some type of protective sleeve or something on it just to protect it. Seeing him out there signing autographs, hanging out with the fans, I don't see anything that he's wearing. There's no sleeve. There's no guard on it. So I think the Yankees put him on the IL. Dexter, you talked about it earlier, just to be more precautious more than anything else.
Yeah, I thought so. But listen, you guys know this. They need Aaron Judge back. They absolutely need it back. All right. So, Hector, you are giving Brian Cashman an A for this deadline.
Yes.
7 new players in pinstripes.
There's multiple ways to go about this.
Uh-huh.
It was either get a high front end starter and not as many bullpen pieces as they did today. I think Cashman saw that the price for Alcantara was too much. Probably the same for Merrill Kelly that he wasn't willing to go and deal with.
Yeah.
And he said, you know what? Instead, I'll go get a bunch of bullpen pieces, high end relievers. I didn't even know Doval was going to be available. Like, you got Doval for the next 2.5
Nobody was
years.
mentioning him.
You got a legit another closer option. Bednar is arguably one of the best relievers in baseball right now. You got him. You got Bednar. You got legitimately Devin Williams, Luke Weaver. This bullpen has just shortened your starter's length so much. If health stays the way it should, that you hope it does, this Yankees rotation won't be asked to do as much as it has right now. And the bullpen should be able to lock down the last 4 to 5 innings potentially in the playoff game.
Yeah. Keyword is should. They got to do that. Hector, appreciate you, man. You gave your GM an A. This feels like a pretty solid grade. Everybody check out Hector. Uptown Sports, Yankees Morning Brew hosted that. Does a great job with that. Please check him out. Hector, appreciate you, brother. We'll talk soon.
Let's go Yankees, Hector.
Appreciate you, Dex. Appreciate you,
Not
Ryan.
gonna hear those
Ryan,
words from me.
I gotta have you on the show, Ryan. Big fan of your work. Love the podcast you do with Joe. So I'll reach out to you. All right, bro?
Anytime, my guy. Anytime.
All right, Dex. Love you, Unc.
No problem, bro. Peace.
Peace.
All right, you just heard from Hector Champ there, doing a great job as he does with the Yankees. That's my guy. And then I'm going to bring in one of my other guys. You see him a lot with me talking Mets. He is the host of the Subway to Shea podcast. He's been a guest on Straight Outta Flushing. It's my guy, Anthony Rivera, locking in here. Ant, what's going on, man?
I'm good. I'm very good after this trade deadline. I thought both teams did pretty well.
Yeah, we think so too. I mean, Ryan was here. He was not too happy as a Yankee fan the other day. I am very pleased with what David Stearns did as a Mets fan. He was out here cooking. And for me, Anthony, the biggest thing, and I said this to Ryan earlier, is no blue chip prospects giving up. Granted, I know you saw this too. There were some Mets fans that were out here talking about after the trade for Tyler Rogers. They were saying they thought the Mets, the price was a little bit steep. What did you make of what Stearns did here at the deadline?
Yeah, I liked what he did. I know at first I was a little skeptical of that trade with Tyler Rogers, considering what we gave up. But, looking back, giving time to assess it, I thought that they made out pretty well, giving up Jose Butto, who I don't know if they really had plans for outside of being a long reliever. And they had sent back down Huáscar Brazoban to start stretching him out to be a long reliever. So you kind of saw the writings on the wall there. Then giving up Drew Gilbert, who was a top prospect at the end of 2023 when they got him in the trade. I think it was for Verlander. When they made that trade, he was top 4, top 5, and all of a sudden he went all the way down to number 12. So obviously Carson Bench, who is now rising in the rankings in AA, I think he's going to be that guy in center field. Then I'm trying to figure out if I can remember the third person in that whole trade. It's now lost from my memory now, but I know it was
Blade
Tidwell.
Blade Tidwell. Oh my goodness. Yes. Blade Tidwell. I was never really big on Blade Tidwell, even, seeing him in the majors a couple of times. I thought he was going to be a relief pitcher to begin with. So the Mets kind of made out there on that trade. And I thought they needed a lefty. The Gregory Soto trade I thought was necessary as well. And as we know, the David Stearns works well with the GM down there in Baltimore. They worked together in Houston for a while. So that worked out. And I thought that they would come back for Cedric Mullins if Luis Robert didn't work out. Obviously, they wanted a whole lot for Luis Robert, and I'm glad that they didn't give up anything for there, just getting Cedric Mullins and not giving up any big prospects. The only prospect in the top 10 that went was in the Helsley deal. Top 8 guy was Jesus Baez, and that was it. So the Mets really made out here well. I would have liked a starting pitcher, but I do understand, and I feel like now we might see Nolan McClain or Brandon Sproat come up here and get some significant innings, especially with.
You really think they bring up Sproat?
I think one or the other comes up, whether it's McClain or Sproat.
Too.
Do you think it's ready? You think Sproat's ready?
He's had a good month, finally stringing along some starts. It could be McClain because McClain has been consistent the whole season long.
He's been way more consistent.
Way more consistent. He's just developed a little bit faster than Sproat was supposed to. And the fact that Clay Holmes has been unable to get length during his starts, and we saw him in San Diego, very tough start for him there. I don't know how far they're going to take him as a starting pitcher, whether they limit him innings or they back him up with someone else. It's just getting into the postseason with Clay Holmes as a starter. I just don't think it's going to happen.
I'm for Holmes if that happens to what you're saying, Anthony. If you're going to move him back to the bullpen, I think that's a really good move. I would bring up one of these young guys. The Mets need length, but what I will say is, even though they will need the length, and it would have been nice. I'm with you. It would have been nice to see them get another starter. The fact that we both saw the Mets and Yankees do the same thing here, which they've now shortened the games, right? And adding all these arms that they did, I think that's the most encouraging thing. Look, the Mets pitching has been good this year. I still have question marks about some guys. And I'm not sure that who I trust past really Senga and Manaya. And Peterson, of course. Peterson's been dope. So we can't say that. But you need more length out of those guys. Manaya's working his way back up. Same for Senga. So you need a little bit more length, and that would be nice to see. But what else did you like about Helsley? Because I like that trade for him. He's a guy that gives you a different look with the submarine and how low he is to the ground when he releases the ball. What'd you think of that move?
Are you talking about Helsley or Rogers? Rogers is the
Ryan. Sorry, I meant Rogers. Sorry, not Helsley. Rogers,
that's what I love about him, is that he's a submariner. One of my favorite pitchers was on the 2006 Mets, Chad Bradford, and he brought a different angle to the team. They're getting pitching from all different sides, all different angles, and to have a submariner who's as good as Tyler Rogers was a big move, I thought. I know that Doval was talked about. I think Will Salmon had mentioned Doval was being talked about for the Mets, that they wanted to kind of leave with him from San Francisco. But the fact that we got Tyler Rogers, I think we did a little bit better here. And he is a rental. That is a concern. But with David Stearns' money, with Steve Cohen's money, you can sign these guys back. So we'll see what happens in the offseason with these bullpen players, and maybe they make some moves here in the offseason and re-sign some of these guys.
Yeah, that's the thing. The Mets didn't give up any of the prospects that the Mets did give up here. None were top 100 prospects in terms of baseball. So, I like that. Even in the Ryan Helsley deal, right? You talked about Jesus Baez being given up. There probably wasn't a pathway to him playing, especially short being his primary position and Lindor being there. So that's another one. I was like, I'm fine with this. I think Stearns did such a great job without giving up prospects. And I think you bring up another good thing, Anthony, in the fact that they can re-sign these guys. They've got the money to do this. That's not going to be a problem. They needed a bat. They needed to upgrade the center field, right? There's no doubt about that. It could not go on with Tyrone Taylor and Jeff McNeil out there. That was not sustainable. Mullins, what do you think? Are you kind of like neck on him, or did you like the price seemed to be high for Luis Robert Jr.? Did you like what they did in getting Mullins?
I do like what they get in Mullins. Another good center fielder playing defense. He hits lefties pretty well, so that's a positive, because the Mets have struggled versus left-handed pitchers. And if I could find the stats that I put out there, Cedric Mullins has reverse
against lefties.
He's got reverse splits here. He bats .298, has an .866 OPS versus lefties. Against right-handed pitchers, .204, .689 OPS. So he struggles against righties, but the Mets really needed someone to hit lefties, and that was going to be Luis Robert, but the price was too high. The price was way too high for him. The one name that I heard thrown out there was Jonah Tong. I feel like right now at this point, him and McLean were pretty much untouchable unless you were getting an elite starting pitcher, which there really wasn't outside of Sandy Alcantara. And if they weren't going to go all in on Sandy, and who's not really having a great year to begin with, if they weren't going in on him, there really wasn't much outside of getting a Merrill Kelly or Mitch Keller, who was other options that I was interested in. But yeah, Cedric Mullins for me, I think is just fine. You had to get Jeff McNeil and Tyrone Taylor not to be in center field starting. We saw Tyrone Taylor basically was, I think, overexposed by all the time he was playing. He's a bench guy, right? He's comes off the bench. They needed Jeff McNeil to play center field for a while, but then you got him and Brandon Nimmo out there. They don't throw well. I mean, you see things, you see the players stretching singles into doubles, especially in the San Diego series. They ran wild on the Mets. You can't have that. You need someone, a legit center fielder, to be out there and manning that place for them. And you know what? This even goes back to Drew Gilbert. If Drew Gilbert was like one of the top prospects and good enough, he would probably be playing center field right now, and he's not. So that tells you a lot when they trade him.
Yeah, and he was hitting really well before they traded him. So that might have been the Mets selling high on him there. And then as far as Mullins goes, you talked about him hitting lefties, Anthony. He's got a career best 866 OPS against lefties. So I like that a lot. I think he's a guy that can be motivated, Ryan. I think that's something, I like guys who are sometimes motivated. This is not going to be Yoenis Cespedes in 2015. No. It's not going to be that kind of vibe, but I think he's a guy that can come in motivated, play some professional center field.
Look,
give a little bit more length in the lineup. I'm going for that.
You don't have to rely on Jeff McNeil playing center field anymore.
Yeah.
And when you get in the playoffs, you don't want Jeff McNeil playing center field. That's the honest truth. Like,
no.
Cedric Mullins is a legit center fielder. You've seen the spectacular catches he can make. I think the fact they were able to address that just shores up your defense even further up the middle, which you always want strong defense up the middle.
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder about the Mets bottom of the lineup. Like, can they come through? Like, it's top heavy lineup. You're relying on your big four in Soto, Lindor, Alonso, Vientos. You want to see him be a lot, big contributor for you guys offensively. It's what the rest of this lineup does, though.
Well, Anthony, I'm sure you agree with this too. This comes down to two guys here. This comes down to Alvarez and Vientos, that younger guys that have to produce here. And were you a little shocked that the Mets did not move one of their young infielders? Because there still is that glut with Mauricio and Beatty and Vientos, who, is less likely to play in the field now at this point. But were you shocked that they didn't move one of these young infielders here?
I was actually. Jeff McNeil. There was rumors that had talks about Jeff McNeil maybe being moved. Now they have all this infield. Someone's going to go down. I don't know who it is. Maybe Acuna is definitely going to go down. And then they're going to have to decide between whether it's Mauricio or it's Beatty, because Mark Vientos does not have any options. So he can't go anywhere right now. And he probably is not going to go anywhere now that he's starting to hit. We saw him start getting hot in San Diego. So he'll probably stay around. Maybe he could build off of that. I know he's a very, it's a lot of it is mental for him. So if he could build off of that and continue to hit, he'll be a very important part, because I know Ryan said that it's the bottom of the lineup. Over the last 7 games, it's the top of the lineup that has not been delivering at all. I mean, in the last couple of months.
Well, don't you agree though?
Like Pete Alonso.
Well, wouldn't you agree? Like, Juan Soto is going to show up in the playoffs. Like, that's his time to shine.
Absolutely.
Like, he's going to be him. Alonso had a big moment last year in the playoffs for you. The home run off Devin Williams, right? Like, you hope that he can be a contributor for you. I've heard this before, and I wanted to get your guys' thoughts about this. Are they over reliant on Lindor setting the table for this entire offense?
Well, I mean, I think there's a way you can say yes, because Lindor really hasn't been good for about, I don't know, what are we talking about, Anthony? 7 weeks? He's 7 weeks or so. He's really, really been struggling.
It feels like they go as he goes.
Yeah, but and Anthony makes a good point, because recently, as top heavy as the lineup has been, Lindor's been in the funk. Alonso's been in the funk too recently, even though these guys have big moments. Am I worried about those guys? Not necessarily, particularly Lindor. I'm not worried about him, but they've got to start turning it around in order for this to get better. You've seen some big hits lately from Vientos. You've seen some big hits from Alvarez since he's come back up.
Mauricio
Beatty as well too, right? And Mauricio's starting to play good, and you're starting to think, okay, maybe is he the third baseman of the future here for this team? A guy who also has some versatility. The vets have to get it going. They carried a lot early, but they've got to get it going, right, Anthony? They've got to start getting it going. I don't know if you're worried. Worried is not. Alonso's had a good year. I wouldn't use the word worried about him or Lindor right now, but I'm slightly concerned. I think Lindor turns it around, but they've got to start having more quality at bats. And, Soto has come on since his slow start, so I'm not worried about him either. But, yeah, this lineup just hasn't been consistent. Maybe they can get a spark from somebody like Mullins from just extending the lineup, making the bottom of the lineup a little bit better. But you're going to need, to Ryan's point, you're going to need Lindor. you're gonna need Alonso to start hitting better than we've seen in the last 6 to 7 weeks.
I think the most concerning part is that this offense has not come together for, I would say, like 2 or 3 weeks, maybe like a month. We haven't gotten like a month of this offense all together at once. It's either the top of the lineup's hitting, they're not hitting, the bottom of the line's hit. Not everyone has been together. Like Pete was raking in April, but Soto wasn't. And then Soto was doing well in July, and then Lindor is not. Like, we need the entire team to hit all together at once. And better time now to do it as we get ready for a hunt for the playoffs and a possible division with the Phillies made moves as well. So they're not going to be taking a back seat. It's going to be a fight to the top for that NL East between the Mets and the Phillies.
It absolutely is. Last thing before I let you go here, what's your grade? I had Hector grade Brian Cashman. What's your grade for David Stearns, Professor Rivera? What are you giving him?
I'm going to give them an A, based on the fact that they took care of business in the bullpen, getting a lefty. Now they have 2 lefties, which I always talk about needing in the bullpen. And then they got 2 really legitimate setup men. One could be a possible closer. So that's pretty huge. And they took care of business at center field where they really needed someone. Now, I would have given an A+ if we got a starter, but I think an A is good enough for this team.
I think it is. I think it's been a good deadline for New York baseball. I thought it was a good one for the Mets. I think if you're a Mets fan, you got to be happy about that. We'll talk more about that this week on Straight Outta Flushing. Everybody, that's Anthony Rivera, Subway to Shea podcast. Please go check that out. One of the better ones, Talking Mets, and you'll see Anthony a lot more on here with me. And I appreciate you, man, for rocking with me and Ryan here during the trade deadline. And let's go Mets, because I wasn't gonna say the other team earlier when Ryan said it, but let's go Mets, and I'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, thank you guys.
Man. See you, man.
Peace.
Dexter, that was fun, man.
Yeah,
that was a hell of a deadline.
No, this is one of the better deadlines in I don't even know how long. I've been thinking
that was
about
like
this.
An NBA trade deadline. Like,
yeah,
it was fast.
When's the last time we've
furious.
seen this many deals and probably this many relief arms
traded?
I don't remember this.
Not in a long time with baseball like this.
This was fun
because it was slow playing. Like we knew the arms were going to move, right? Like the bats were starting to go first, and you're like, all right, Eugenio Suarez went, Ryan McMahon went. Like the bats were starting to move, and then all of a sudden it's like, when the hell are the pitchers going to start getting traded? And then all of a sudden it came last night from the Mets. Like they go right after and they get Rogers, and you're like, okay, now they're getting Helsley. Now today it's been like Mason Miller, Bednar, Camilo Doval. It's like boom, 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 boom. That was so much fun just seeing every trade just come in right now.
Yeah.
And like just being nonstop. Like, oh, this trade just happened. This trade just happened.
The whole day we've been on our phone.
It's been fun.
This was a fun one. And I think when we look at this, and I know you'll talk about this week on Pinstripe Post, you and Joel will talk about it, but we're really going to look at these teams and say, all right, how much better have they gotten?
Yeah.
Right now. And I think if you're a Mets fan or a Yankee fan, the one thing you got to be happy about, if you're reasonable out there, you want your teams with the ownership groups that they have to try to get better. And they went out and did that. And I think you got to tip your hat to both. I really tip my hat to Brian Cashman, because that man has had a lot of you Yankee fans out there. You've been coming at his neck. Right? Some of you guys have wanted him to get up out of here.
Deservedly so. It's been the worst baseball team the last 2 months in all of baseball.
I understand.
They have the same record as the Colorado Rockies in the last 2 months.
Not a good look.
It's a horrible look.
Horrible look.
It's a $300 million payroll, and you have – here's the thing, Dex. The Mets were better built in the offseason than the Yankees were in the offseason, right? Like, because the Yankees were praised. Like, hey, you got Cody Bellinger. You got Paul Goldschmidt.
I thought the Yankees had a great offseason.
You traded for Devin Williams. Right,
yeah.
You fixed holes. But the problem is that our producer Nick is he's a clown right now.
He's doing Yankee fans things. That's what I'll say.
But like, look, we knew they didn't have a third baseman.
Yeah.
Right. We knew they didn't have enough strikeout guys in this bullpen. You were taking major risk with this rotation after the Garrett Cole injury. You only had Fried and Rodon as guaranteed starters. You were relying on Will Warren. You're relying on Ryan Yarbrough. You had to go get Ryan Yarbrough before the season started. You're relying on nobodies. Marcus Stroman was going to be your number 3.
Right.
Like, they had so many holes on this team. And it's frustrating. The holes are there. They went with a black hole at third base for most of this year.
That was absolute black hole.
You're taking risk with the rotation, and the rotation held up. I'll give them credit. But the bullpen It didn't work out the way they assembled the bullpen.
But this is what you want your GM to do, right? Because you sometimes don't get everything done in the offseason. And now, when the fans have been asking to step up, I hear you with the $300 million player. I'm with you. I'm with you. Your GM has to go. It's a long season, and GMs are supposed to try to make the team better as they go forward. I think the Yankees are much better than they were.
Oh, no doubt.
Weeks ago. Now, should they have been looking like they did the last couple of months?
No.
Okay. I understand the frustration. And kudos to you and Nick and other people like this who've wanted to show Brian Cashman the door. He stepped up. I do think there's pressure on the manager, though. I do. And I think
Boone, absolutely.
Yeah, in terms of how he utilizes these players and what the accountability is going to be going forward. That's what I'm watching.
Dex, we don't forget about Game 1 in the World Series last year when he
I
decided
mean, y'all want to forget about it.
Went over Nestor Cortez over Tim Hill against Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
Like, that was the dumbest of dumb moves you could have made there. A guy who hadn't pitched in months, and you decide to bring him in the biggest spot, and that, like, oh, we're going to bring him in.
Yeah. I know you're not going to forget about it. I can hear it in your voice. The pain is still there.
The pressure's on Aaron Boone. Like, Cashman finally gave him the pieces. I will say this, though.
Sure.
And this is what I was trying to get at Hector before, and I'll ask you this, too. I don't know if Aaron Judge is going to come back to full strength. Like, we don't know. He hasn't swung a bat.
No.
He stood in and watched live BP, like in the batter's box today, but he still hasn't swung a bat. He's going to probably be back. And Joel, I'll ask Joel about this later, but most likely he'll be back in like 2 weeks.
I think that makes sense.
Mid-August, right? He'll be back, but he's going to start the DH. They're not going to put him right in the field right away. He's only taking fly balls. He ain't throwing the ball. They're really concerned about that UCL because if that thing goes,
the Yankees go.
100%.
We got to keep it a real on that.
They need him down the stretch just to get in the playoffs.
I said this on Yankees Morning Brew when I hopped on this morning. I'm concerned. Anything around the UCL, guys, I'm concerned, right? I think the Yankees were concerned. The only thing you could do with something like that is have him rest. Now, the key is how long are you going to have him rest?
He's already doing baseball activities.
Right, but so he did some light tossing yesterday, right? I saw that.
He wasn't throwing. From what I understand, he was just taking fly balls.
Oh, that's what. So he's not, and he wasn't throwing.
He was not throwing at all. He was just holding on to the ball.
And initially, the doctor said that if he was going to come back and not have taken this rest, that what they would have recommended the Yankees do is just DH him. So if the doctor's saying, "Hey, we don't want him to throw here, Ryan, at all whatsoever," that tells you the only thing that can help this is rest. But as we know, what happens when you're out in the outfield? All it takes is you're trying to cut off a ball in the gap, and you're trying to make a throw.
Yeah,
and it's a stressful throw.
You know,
I'm not wishing this, but
there's always a big difference when you're throwing in warmups compared to actual game action.
Yeah,
the speed is way different. You're full 100%, and if that thing, you get concerned. What I'm trying to say though is let's say Judge comes back and he's the DH for a week.
Mm-hmm.
How are you playing with your lineup if Stanton arguably has been one of your better hitters besides Bellinger right now? Like you're going to sit Stan?
You can't put him out there in the field though.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, so when Judge comes back, he's DHing for at least a week. You'd probably think.
I know, and now that impacts your lineup.
So then you're sitting Stan, and Stan ultimately becomes a pinch hitter now.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
It's a major problem. But I don't know what you do. I think the Yankees have to be very cautious with this
because they have to be careful with Judge.
I know it's a 10-day DL stint, but I think, as Joel alluded to you, it wouldn't. I think you see him back in the middle of August. It's going to be rest because that's the only thing you could do with these ligament. It's rest. That's the only thing that's going to make it better. So the fact that he's not throwing, he said that he wasn't feeling pain when he was gripping the bat and hitting. He said that on Saturday after the Yankees announced this. You got to play this safe because if there's no Aaron Judge,
you have to play it safe to an extent, though, right? Because if the offense is struggling, he's going to be feeling pressure too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's switch it to the Mets side real quick again before we close out.
Yeah.
We talked about the rotation. Clay Holmes has not pitched well lately.
No.
Senga is legitimately always a fragile pitcher who's one injury away from being out probably the rest of the year again because he's just that type of pitcher. Do you have enough confidence in that the fact that they put more bullpen pieces? My question to you is, let's say they bring up Sproat. Why don't you put Clay Holmes in the bullpen?
Oh, I think that's what will happen if Sproat comes up.
He's already reaching that innings limit.
Because there's no way with the where Holmes is at his innings right now. How much longer can you go with that?
I don't know.
I don't think it's much longer. I think in an ideal world, the Mets would have landed a starter here at the deadline and they would have moved Holmes to the bullpen. But that's why I think what Anthony brought up makes a lot of sense. You bring up Sproat, you bring up McClain. Sproat's pitched well recently. McClain's been a lot more solid throughout the year.
Yeah.
Do I like throwing young guys into a pennant race.
I mean, this is the time of year, right? Like to see what they got. I mean, the Yankees did the same thing with Derek Jeter in '95. They brought him up in the pennant race.
Yeah.
Not the pennant race, but they brought him up when they were chasing a wild
card spot.
And he played in September, a couple games, didn't play in the playoffs. He got to watch
against the
Mariners.
'95
in the playoffs. You give him that experience for Sproat. I would do that. Absolutely.
I like
the smart organizations do.
I agree. And I generally like putting guys into the fire. Let's see what you got, right? You'll find out what they're made of. Sometimes it works. Michael Conforto, as a hitter, came up in 2015 and hit really well for the Mets. Let's see what these guys got.
Sproat in the bullpen too. If you guys need another bullpen arm,
yeah.
Right? Like if Sproat, you love his arm and you love his velocity. Like I'm just saying, like if it comes down to it and they're shortening the rotation and they really like what Sproat does. Let's say if they do call him up and they like what he does in the month of August and September, and you're like, hey, we don't have a spot for you in the rotation, but we want to put you in the bullpen. That could be an opportunity. I'm just saying.
No, I like it. I'm all for it. The key thing to what you're saying is the Mets need some length out of their starters now, but they've changed the game with getting these arms because if they don't get the length, they're like, okay, we now have a bridge to Edwin Diaz, and I feel much better about that than I did last week. However, with all that being said, if you put Holmes in the pen, that only makes your pen stronger. And if you get another young arm up here who can give you innings, because the guys I trust right now is I trust Peterson, which is unbelievable. I wouldn't have said this 2 years ago. I trust Peterson. I trust Minaya once he starts to lengthen out. Trust him. I trust Senga as long as he's healthy, right? But you do get a little bit iffy about him being healthy, right? If you have those three, you
got a solid rotation.
You got a solid rotation, and you can move Holmes back. Montas.
Yeah, who knows with that guy?
I'm just gonna leave that out there.
I know how you feel about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna just leave that out there. But if you have those three and then your bullpen arms do what you require to do, you can cook with that. So I think it's a good day for New York baseball, man.
Great day for baseball, man. Great day for New York baseball. Great day for the trade deadline. Huge win for Major League Baseball.
Yes.
This was fun.
This was fun. Everybody should know you'll be doing a live pinstripe post later tonight. So Yankees fans, you can stick around for more talk. Joel Sherman will be on with Ryan. That'll be dope. You
ask some questions for us. We're going to be answering those questions. Joel loves questions.
Joel loves questions. He will answer that. And shout out to Joel because he came on straight out of Flushing
he did.
This week. And we got a lot of good insight there. So that'll be pretty dope. Ryan, this was good.
This was fun. You got to talk some Knicks now, though.
I do have to talk some Knicks now. I got thoughts. Mikal Bridges signed his extension. I got thoughts. That's good. Our producer here is shaking his head. I don't know why. So some of y'all out there was hating on Mikal Bridges all year. So maybe I understand that's why. But he's Ryan Sampson. Check him out on Pinstripe Post. Live show coming up later tonight. I'm Dexter Henry. We'll be back with you this weekend for another edition of Straight Outta Flushing. That'll be a fun one. My guy Al Cintron from WFN, huge Mets fan. Sometimes he's happy, sometimes he's not. He will be joining me.
He's got to be happy.
He better be happy. I mean, you could always be mad, though.
My future father-in-law is happy. I know that. They finally addressed the bullpen.
That's good. You know what I like? Oh, you got some Mets people in your life now. You needed that.
I'm marrying into a family of a bunch of Mets fans.
So. Oh, that's good people right there. Oh, wow. I hope
I'm the only Yankees fan. Like they all gang up.
That's how I feel here at work. That's exactly how I feel. Y'all are all gang up on me.
Yeah, we do.
There you go. So I love Ryan, though. It's all
I love you too.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for watching. We appreciate y'all in the comments. Shout out to our guests, Hector Champ, Anthony Rivera. Appreciate them. Please support us. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button.
Subscribe. Come on, hit the like button, people. We like that. This is important for us.
Yes. Hopefully, we'll be doing some more of these either through the playoffs, some joint, straight out of Flushing Pinstripe Post shows. We'll be doing.
I'm sticking them in front of a camera for you people. Okay.
There you go. Shout out to our whole team here. Shout out to our guy Nick Federico doing his thing on the production. Tommy Hogan, Tommy Cohen, Wesley Splain, everybody.
Nikolai Jackson, don't forget him.
Nikolai Jackson. Shout out Nikolai, even though sometimes you are the worst Yankee fan of them all. But I love you too. All right, thank you, everybody. We're going to be out of here.
Let's go, Yankees.
Let's go, Mets, because I'm not going to talk about the other team. Peace, y'all.